recipes for you that all incorporate more inexpensive cuts of meat. If you saw my video about carnivore diet and keto diet on a budget when it comes to buying meat, I'm gonna leave that up below just in case you haven't seen it, but it talks all about the different cuts of meats that you can buy if you have a limited budget. So today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you 4 recipes that incorporate these cheaper cuts of meat. The first recipe is a baked cod that's wrapped in bacon. The second one is chicken hearts. Yep, that's right, I incorporated organ meat for you guys. These are butter braised chicken hearts. I also show you a pulled pork recipe from a pork shoulder that I slowly cooked on the Traeger grill. This recipe is great because you can use it in lots of recipes throughout the week as it yields a large amount of meat. And then I also show you how to make cheese and bacon stuffed burgers. So make sure you stay tuned and keep watching to watch all of these easy, budget-friendly recipes. So first up, I'm going to show you guys how to make bacon wrapped cod. Now, cod is a relatively inexpensive fish and you can find it pretty much in any grocery store, usually in the freezer department, or if you're lucky, you can find it fresh. And we're going to just jazz up this cod by adding lots of flavor with some melted butter and bacon. So right here, I just have some few simple ingredients. I have my cod, bacon, and some melted butter, and of course, salt and pepper for seasoning. I have a couple of different slices of cod here. A couple of them are cut to different thicknesses. Like these ones are thicker than the other. So if you find some where the fillet is not very thick, you can actually double them up and wrap them into bacon so that everything cooks evenly. This recipe you can actually prep up ahead of time if you wanted to. You can pre-butter your cod and wrap it in bacon and put it in the refrigerator for a few hours just to cut down on the prep time. Or you can do everything right away and pop it in the oven. We're gonna bake it in a 400-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. If you're making this bacon wrapped cod for the keto diet, you could sprinkle a little bit of chives on it just for a little bit of flavor and color. But if you're doing the carnivore diet, I would just leave it blank and go with one like this. I promised you guys a recipe using organ meats, and today we're going to be doing something with chicken hearts. I usually like to get my chicken hearts on sale around Thanksgiving or the holidays because they're readily available and they're very, very inexpensive. This recipe, we're going to be frying up some chicken hearts in some butter and finishing it with just a little touch of salt. So here I have my chicken hearts, and then we have our butter and salt. Very, very simple. This recipe comes together quickly, so it's great as like a snack or an appetizer or just when you're looking for an easy dinner. Today we're going to be using a cast iron skillet to cook our chicken hearts. Now, when it comes to cooking chicken hearts, you don't want to cook them too long just because they start to get chewy. The most you want to cook them at is until they're around medium rare or so. Anything beyond that is just going to be tough and chewy and unappetizing. I like to buy my chicken hearts in bulk and then I freeze them. And then when it's time to cook them, I will run them under some warm water or leave them sit for about a half of an hour. This is the perfect temperature for them to be at. So they're a little bit harder inside, but then the outside is soft. Once that butter has that nice brown appearance and it smells nice and nutty, that's when we add in our chicken hearts. we just finish it with a little bit of finishing salt, which is a flaky salt. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a stuffed burger. And this isn't just your usual stuffed burger. This burger is going to be stuffed with cheese, bacon, and topped with an egg. Our ingredients that we're going to use today are ground beef, bacon that I've already pre-cooked, and some eggs to go on top, and I'm gonna fill this with some pepper jack cheese. You could use any sort of cheese you wanted, from cheddar to maybe even some blue cheese, whatever you feel like, but I like the spiciness of pepper jack, so that's what I'm going with today. I have a pound of ground beef here, and we're gonna start by dividing it into 8 pieces. Then you're gonna try and make a little bowl out of 1 layer of your 4 patties here. This will be our bottom layer. Just add your top half to the burger, and then you want to make sure that you're careful just to seal the edges, pinch it all together with the ground beef because you don't want it leaking out when you grill it. Just season with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then it's ready for the grill. You could also top this with more bacon and cheese if you want, but I think it's good as it is. Up next, I'm going to show you how to make pulled pork on the grill. And I'm actually going to be using a Traeger grill, but you can put this in the oven too if you'd like. I like making pulled pork because it's inexpensive and you can get a lot of meat from it, so you can use it throughout the week in different recipes. Since the pork shoulder is laced with lots of fat and connective tissue, you have to cook it for a long period of time. So like 8 to 12 hours, we're gonna roast the sucker. This is a great recipe to do on meal prep day, which might be Sunday for a lot of you guys. Just a day when you have time to sit and chill for a few hours and let the pork do its thing. The pork that I'm gonna be using today is about a 7-pound roast. It's bone-in pork shoulder. Now, making this pulled pork actually starts the night before. You wanna rinse it and then dry it off with a paper towel and then salt it all over. You wanna give the salt time to penetrate into the interior of the meat so that all of the meat is nicely seasoned. To season the pork shoulder, we're gonna be using about 1/2 teaspoon per pound of meat. So this is about a 7-pound shoulder, so I'm gonna be using 3.5 teaspoons of salt. Next, I'm gonna make the seasoning for the pork shoulder. This is a seasoning that I got from the cookbook Meathead. It is a Memphis dust, and I have made it into a keto version. The regular version calls for brown sugar, but I'm adding a little bit of golden monk fruit sweetener. You could omit this too if you're trying to just do no artificial sweeteners, but the sugar flavor just really helps with that pork. And I like to just gently moisten the meat with just a little bit of water. This helps the rub stick to it better. This pork shoulder takes around 8 to 12 hours to cook in the Traeger, so you want to give yourself some time, and it just depends on the size of the meat. You want to cook it until it's around like 195 to a little over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. These recipes gave you guys ideas for when you're on a keto diet or a carnivore diet and you're on a budget. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I've got more great content coming out. Have a good one, guys.